Welcome back to another episode of the True Growth Through Growth podcast. It's your girl, Latina Mata, mindset coach, facilitator of healing with Revelation Breathwork. And today I want to share with you something that has been a challenge for me, right? So I'm going to give you some insight into my um, personal life. So my daughter, she's 7 years old, and she knows loss, right? Not loss as in death, but loss as in people who she really cared about not being present anymore. So this is not, to open up a can of worms for anybody or to put, her situation in the limelight, but I'm sharing this because I feel very moved too. So essentially, her relationship with her father is not the greatest because he's not the most present parent. Um, and he has his own reasons for doing so. So this platform that I have here is not to, make that a point of focus, right? She was a daddy's girl for these first years, specifically with her being around or with him being around, daddy was everything. Then I got into another relationship where he also took up the father role significantly. And life happened and that relationship ended. Thirdly, she had a dog. We had a dog. So if you guys know me from a very long time, I had a dog. Her name was Fluffy, was my mother's dog. And she grew up with that dog. And the dog died when she was 4, I believe, right? So within the last 2 years specifically, and I guess now that she's older, and I always make space for her to share, for her to express herself. I always make space for her to say what she really feels. And I think with the craziness of the pandemic, um, and the anxiety and not having that outlet to exert energy throughout the day, etc., her sleep has become very difficult. So she would go to sleep super late. And I notice when she is overtired is when there's like this huge, like this great amount of emotions. And in her tantrums, basically, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but in her emotional um expression of what's going on with her, I usually get late at night when she's overtired. So the situation with her dad will come up. She would express her hurt and pain around that, about why he's not as present as she would like him to be. She would express her hurt and pain around the situation of my past relationship, where he was very much of a father to her. And then, of course, she would express her hurt and pain around the dog, Fluffy, not being there. And it was a lot. It was a lot for me to take in as a mother. One, as a mother, it's painful to see your child express so much pain and so much hurt. Two, I am like, I do not know what it is to really experience loss in that capacity, as in, all my immediate persons are here. There was just one very, very, very close person to me who passed away, and that was within the last 3 years. But in that very tender age, between 0 and recently, I've never really experienced loss in that capacity. So it was very hard for me to navigate. Anyways, fast forward, it's been 2 years of us, having to, you know, coach her and support her and hold space for her. I must let you know that that shit is very, very difficult. And this is why, as a parent, one of the most critical things is learning how to regulate your own emotions so that you could hold space for your children when they are in their emotional space, right? Um, I did allow her to go therapy, did invest in therapy. And of course, therapy is a process by itself. And it's something that I started and then we fell off. And then it is something that I have intention of having her in, right? Continued until I believe that she is um, equipped and she has the tools to regulate her emotions. Anyways, so this is a very, very vulnerable podcast. I know I usually say, oh, this is so my personal life, but this is very vulnerable because this is my daughter I'm speaking about. Anyways, so if you are a mommy, a parent, a father, and you relate, I, with my whole heart, sincerely, like reach out, message me, let me know, hey, Latina, you're not alone, right? Um, so anyways, within the last couple months, I noticed, or week specifically, I noticed she's very crabby. She's very um defiant. She is, she seems like there's a lot of, you know, ungratefulness, very, I don't know the words to describe really, but there's a shift. There's a shift. Now I know she's 7 going on 8. And I'm also aware that this is a very transitionary space for her, like life is happening, things are changing, COVID is still here. School, like she as a young little girl is also dealing with her own personal challenges. So this is just my introduction to remind you parents that children have their own stress as well. So, when a child is throwing a tantrum, when a child is frustrated, and a child is overwhelmed, and a child is behaving a particular way, and you're like, I don't understand why, like they have nothing to worry about, that's bullshit. In their own little world, those little things that we now as adults could manage and deal with are big, big, big deals for them. So we really need to be super mindful of that, right? Anyways, so in our conversations for the last year specifically, um, well, within the last 6 months, let me see. So within the last year, okay, back up. So when I noticed, oh my God, so I noticed within the last year, or a year ago, I should say, that she is grieving. So I knew she was hurt. I knew she was sad. I knew she was concerned about the situation with my relationship, situation with the dog, situation with her dad. I knew that, right? So I would have allowed space for her to cry and for her to express that and for her to say those things. But that happened in 2020, right? Those two major things, the dog as well as the relationship, happened 2019, 2020. So now we're in 2021 and the problem is still there. The emotions are still there and it's really huge. And then I had a download and I'm like, oh my God, she's grieving. She is grieving. And I do not have the capacity and I do not believe I have the tools to support through a grieving process, as well as, my daughter. It's because it's very personal, right? So I will take things very personally. Anywho's, so within the last 6 months specifically, I have become very in tune with these emotional things that come up. And to be honest, because it comes up so often, I think I became a bit desensitized to it, right? All right, cool, no problem. So we got a therapist. We started to do the work. I noticed there was some shift, with her having somebody to speak to outside of me and outside of her grandma. Great. We had to put a pause on that for circumstances beyond my control, but we had to put a pause on it for a bit. And then it dawned on me. I said, because of course the narrative that I had been teaching her was, it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel. It's okay to have those feelings. Those things are real. They are valid. Like it's like, sure. Don't let anybody tell you don't feel your feelings. They're like, I have some family members who I love dearly, but they are not the crying type. They are not the feel your feelings type. They are the, hey, we have nothing to cry for. The Caribbean way of doing things, right? They have nothing to cry for. Toughen it up, right? And I know a lot of the clients that I have, crying wasn't a thing. Like, you're not allowed to cry. So I was then coaching persons to feel their feelings, right? So of course that is what I was teaching my daughter. I did not want her to have everything stuffed inside. But what I realized that I then had to teach her, which is what we're doing now, and this is where this episode is inspired from, was a conversation that I just finished having with her about 10 minutes ago. You have a choice. You have a choice. And, she would express with such sincerity and such heartbrokenness. And I mean, I could get all emotional saying this, that it hurts. It hurts that she lost her dog. It hurts that she lost these two people that she loves or loved dearly. It hurts her so much. And I then went in to describe that It's okay to feel those things, but you have to choose. You have to choose if you are going to stay feeling sad and feeling angry and feeling upset, or if you're going to choose to be happy and be grateful and to be content right now where you are. And I had been telling her this for months now, and I realized that maybe it's her 7 going into 8, so there's more understanding. But I felt as though the light bulb starts like it went off tonight. I felt like the light bulb went off. I expressed to her that, hey, bad things happen, awful things happen to us all the time. And we have the option to stay in that feeling of sadness, or we could choose how we want to move forward, right? And I used a narrative around color, right? I said, every single person in this world has a light, right? And we have this big, bright, beautiful light around us. And so I'm telling you, you have this big, beautiful, bright, white light around you, or whatever color that resonates around you. And shitty things happen. And when shitty things happen, it may change the color, right? Because we have emotions, and those emotions would affect the light, right? And I told her that if you allow the emotions, the not so pretty emotions, to consistently be there and just make a big home in your body, then the light is going to change color. And I asked her, what color do you think the light would change to? And she said, I think it will change to a dark color. And I said, yes. And I also said, every time you let a past situation and let people who hurt you and let things that happened affect how much and how great you feel today, especially after a long period of time, then what you're doing is giving them your power. I said, sometimes people do naughty things, right? So of course I'm speaking to her for a 7-year-old to catch. And I was like, sometimes people do naughty things. And when they do naughty things, if we continue to just be sad and be angry and be frustrated and be resentful towards them, what we're doing is giving our power away. And she said, what do you mean power? I said, your happiness is your power. I said, your peace is your power. I said, your excitement is your power. I said, your love is your power. I said, those beautiful things are your power. And if you continue to be sad and you continue to be angry and you continue to be those things off of situations that happened in the past, then it means that you're just giving your power away. And she said, Mommy, but my heart is broken. My heart is broken. And I said, but hearts could be fixed, baby. And she said, what do you mean? I said, yes. And then I used her cousin who broke her hand sometime last year in a trampoline. It was a freak accident. And I said, isn't her hand fixed now? And she said, yeah, it is. And it was like nothing ever happened. I was like, yeah, and it's the same thing that you could do with your heart, but you have to choose, right? You have to choose. And of course, I mean, this is a conversation with a 7-year-old, so let's, we're not trying to get all technical, but I'm trying to share with her, and I'm also sharing with you on an emotional standpoint. You do not have to continue being sad. You do not have to continue being angry. You do not have to continue being resentful. You do not have to continue to hold on to your shame. You do not have to continue feeling those emotions, those things. And bear with me, those things are a part of the human experience. They are. So you are meant to experience those things. But at some point, it becomes a choice to stay there. At some point, it becomes a choice to decide that you are going to remain unhappy. You're going to remain unforgiving. You are going to remain heartbroken. It becomes a choice. And my daughter has been dealing with this going in 2 years. And I did not realize as a mommy, and very intuitive mommy as well, that she was grieving until a year ago. And it's only within the last 6 months, because I tried to do it on my own. Within the last 6 months, I put her in an extracurricular activity. So she is in an extracurricular activity even during this pandemic, and I'm grateful for the space to do so. I put her in an extracurricular activity and I invested in a therapist. And as I said, therapy is something that I am an advocate for. If you have little ones, find somebody who is capable, who is safe, who you feel safe with to support your children, because we can't do it alone, right? I am a coach. I've helped more than 100 plus women, more than almost 200 women I've helped. And I need a coach for me. I need a therapist for me. I need a coach for my daughter or a therapist for my own child. Understand? Anyways, and this message that I am saying here is to let you know that you have a choice. You get to choose. You get to choose. Do you want to remain angry and bitter towards somebody who did you something however long ago? Or are you going to choose to be where you are right now and decide that, hey, I am going to create something different? And I know it is so easy to just hold on to the pain, right? It's so easy to hold on to the hurt. It is, because that's what you come to know. But the truth is, the bigger parts of you, the higher parts of you, that big, bright, beautiful light that literally is there or was there present around you, wants to shine and wants to shine so freaking bright, because that's what it wants to do. Anyways, so of course, we did the Honopono. Is it Honopono? Hopono? Gosh, I'll put it in the bottom here. I can't pronounce it. But basically I told her and I called these 3 specific people's name. And I said, Lanai, I want you to repeat this after me. So I'm going to share this with you. This is a prayer that I lead with. I guide my clients through. This is a prayer that I use for myself. This is something that I do when I am doing my own decluttering work, right? My emotional decluttering work. And I said, so let's just say her dad's name is John. I said, Lanai, I want you to say, John, I love you. No, John, I am sorry. I forgive you. I love you. Thank you. And she cried and she cried. And my other friend, well, the other relationship that she is upset about, I told her to call him by his name and to say, I am sorry. I forgive you. I love you. Thank you. And our dog's name was Fluffy. So I told her to say, Fluffy, I am sorry. I forgive you. I love you. I thank you. And she sobbed and I felt that release. And she was like, at first, why are you calling their names? Why are you calling their names? I don't want you to call their names because you know how much it hurts. And I said, babe, we had to bring the elephant in the middle of the room. Let us, the elephant that is in the middle of the room, sorry, is what we have to acknowledge. And these are the things that are hurting you. And you are brave and you could do hard things and you could do big things. And it is okay for us to look at this situation right here and confront it. But at the end of the day, you have to choose. So this is my message to you. Whatever situation you're dealing with in your life, whatever hurt, whatever pain, whatever heartbrokenness you are dealing with right now, that you know is keeping you stuck, that you know is keeping you back from where it is you want to go, release it. And then I told her, take some deep breaths out. So after we said that prayer, I said, let it all, let it all out. And the tears ran and it ran and ran. Mind you guys, all of this is happening in my car. This shit is happening in my car. And the tears were still there. And I was like, do you need more? And she was like, yes. I was like, do you want to scream? And she was afraid to scream. I'm like, no, baby, scream, scream. So this is part of the work that I do in breathwork sessions. And I tell clients to scream. I was like, okay, I'll turn on the radio for you so you could scream and let it all out. The neighbors wouldn't hear. And if they hear, well, who cares? I said, scream. And she screamed and she screamed and she screamed. And I was like, how do you feel? She's like, I feel good. I feel better. I shared with her, I was like, listen, mommy has so many broken hearts. So like, my heart was broken. People did naughty things, you know? And she was like, what? And I set my boundary and I was like, no, baby, those are adult things. You do not need to know that. Maybe when we're older, when you're older, then I'll probably share with you those things. But people did naughty things too. And I also shared, I said, my daddy wasn't around. He wasn't around. Well, he was around, but he was very marginal. And I said, you know, I could choose to be angry with him. I could choose to be upset. But why do that? I was like, no, I have people like you that I love. I have my mom, I have my business, I have my clients, I have Zoe, which is a dog, I have my family. Like I have people and things right here, right now that I could choose to focus on. Because, and I said, I was like, if I be angry with my dad, if I be angry with your daddy, if I be angry with anybody else in that way, it's gonna, I'm giving my power away. And in speaking to her like this, as I said, I noticed the light bulb went off and I feel like I could cry. Like honestly, doing this podcast episode here, I could cry. And if you're looking at me, well, I'm still in my gym clothes. I did not even take a bath as yet. Don't judge me, right? But don't give your power away. All of our feelings, all of your feelings are valid. The sadness, the anger, the jealousy, the shame, the guilt. Like, listen, they are valid. But at some point, you need to choose what color you want your light to be. Do you want your light, the light around you, to be dark and brown and, very dirty and musky and just giving off a different type of energy? Or do you want your aura to be illuminating and welcoming and open and loving, whichever? Which of those do you prefer that it is? And I want you to go back to that time when your light was so bright and beautiful. Go back to that time and remember how great that time was, and acknowledge that you have 150% capability of making that light be most present again. You are not doomed to having repeat and live in the same emotions that make you feel as though it's not worth being here, it's not worth showing up for yourself, it's not worth going after your goals. Like it just does not serve anybody to give your power away like that. Because the truth is, those very people and situations who hurt you, who broke you, who made you feel as though you're a piece of shit or a piece of paper that they just crumple up and throw away, they may not even give a shit that you're giving them their power. Do you understand how insane that is? So while you are there giving them your power, they still don't even care that you are giving them it. So even if you feel as though you were doing them some type of service out of some deep, deep love by, still being fixated on them or fixated on the situation, half of them probably don't even give a shit. This space that I'm in here is really hard for me because as a mommy, as a coach, as somebody who's doing my own inner work, like, fuck, this is hard. This is hard. This is hard, especially when I would watch a small version of me hurt in ways that I cannot even feel, because at 7 I wasn't dealing with that shit. At 7 I was not dealing with loss like that, and I also did not have the safety to be as articulate as that. So I don't even have a model to freaking model except for what I've been learning over the last couple years. And even in that, it is not the same when the person that you're supporting came from your womb, right? But my message that I shared with her, I know that is a message for me and is also a message for you. Hence the reason my decision to share something very personal with you. And I just want to remind you that this is a safe, judgment-free space. Any information that I share on this podcast episode, on my podcast, is with the only intention of giving you more insights into the reality that is that of being a coach, being a mommy, running a business, as well as having you see, hey, like, okay, all the breath work and the self-love and the whatever, like, I am still growing through my process, right? I'm still growing through what I am going through. And I feel like to not share some of these things would also be a disservice, right? So, and of course, if you're hearing any noise in the background, that's Zoe, my dog. I just felt so compelled, like I had to jump on here, and just have this chat with you. Definitely send me a message. Definitely reach out to me if this resonated. Share with a friend, leave a review, all the works. But that is it in a nutshell. You get to choose. You get to choose if you're going to continue to have this dim, gloomy light around you, or if you're going to have this big, bright, illuminating light. You're going to choose if you want to continue to give your power away to people and situations that happened in the past. You're going to choose, or you're going to choose to look at your current situation, acknowledge the awesome things that you have, even if it's a handful that you feel alone that you have, which I'm 1,000% sure is not true, and then decide to choose to take back your power. And that power looks like love and happiness and gratitude and patience and self-compassion and self-forgiveness and understanding and kindness and confidence and boldness. Like that is what your power looks like. But it is so hard to showcase your power if you are rooted or allowing yourself to focus on things like sadness and anger and unforgiveness and resentment and ingratitude. Like it is very hard for those powerful parts of you to really shine bright if you have these other things, these other parts of you running the show. My baseline for all my coaching is to learn to accept, radically love and accept all the parts of you. So that looks like the shame, loving the guilt, loving the anger, loving the unforgiveness. It looks like that. But the intention, and when I say love all the parts of you, is to see those parts of you, acknowledge it, love it because it is a part of you. But in doing so, it softens its power and it allows the actual powerful parts of you to shine through. It's not about, when I say love and accept all the parts of you, it's not about loving it. I mean, like, well, okay, I like this, so that's what it is. No. Is loving it, is accepting it. It is saying thank you. It is saying sorry. It is saying that you forgive it. To soften it, to release it, to let it go. So that the powerful parts of you could shine through. I love you guys so much. As I said, comment, send me an email, the drill. Tag me on social media and I will connect with you soon. Bye-bye.